Hello, Bong here, and I've got something a little different for today. HP have sent me an OMEN X to try out, and have asked me to let you guys know what I thought. At first I was confused, I was petrified, but then I realised it's just a massive gaming rig inside a giant cube that's been rotated 45 degrees for practical and aesthetic delights. Let's start with the case. This is one chunky cube, heavy enough to obliterate a small mammal if dropped on from a mild height, and weighty enough that not a single pesky thief at a LAN party would be able to run off with this tasty gizmo, well, not without having to see the spine doctor shortly after. I see you sat there, watching the sexy red lights dance and flash, thinking, looks pretty stylish. But is that all? Well, let me tell you, the flashy lights serve more of a purpose than to draw a greasy nerd moth to the flame. They can be configured with the OMEN control software, so that each chamber will reveal a different system stat to you at a glance. Handy to know how heavily your GPU or CPU are being pushed, or how hot they're getting, without having to open a single program on your desktop. Speaking of temperatures, the case itself is elevated via the legs of the stand, something a standard desktop lay on the floor won't have, meaning there should be some nice airflow pulling cool air from under the case. And not to mention it's made entirely out of galvanised steel, so I imagine the case itself would act as some kind of giant colossal heatsink. Airflow in the chamber design means that the hot air from the GPU and CPU compartment should be kept separate from your PSU and hard drive bays, both of which are in their own isolated quadrants. There are 3 chambers in total, the largest housing the Micro ATX motherboard, which obviously holds your CPU, GPU, RAM, etc, you know, a lot of the hot things. One chamber entirely sections off the PSU, which alone can pump quite a lot of heat into a traditional case design. Finally, the last chamber contains the 4 hot swap hard drive bays. It's becoming more common in case designs to start to compartmentalise the various areas of your system to help with airflow and temperature control, but I have to say there is something particularly bold and unique about the way that the OMEN X has done it. The design for the case allows for a lot of connectivity. The easy access side I/O panel has a 3-in-1 card reader, the standard mic and headphone jacks, but what's really nice is the 4 USB 3.0 ports, 2 of which are Type-Cs, giving you a little future-proofing there. Given the unique design of this case, it's very easy to access each compartment and make repairs or do upgrades, all without having to take the PC and put it on its side on the floor. You can pretty much do any work you want exactly where it stands. In the bottom segment of the front of the case, the panel pops off to reveal a handy little toolkit. There's a miniature crowbar of sorts to help you easily remove some of the other panels, an Allen key with screwdriver heads at the ends, and some cute little housing for any extra screws. This is an absolute luxury at this point, but something you'd almost expect for the price. The hot swap bays are very easy to get at. The main compartment containing the motherboard opens out beautifully from the side at a push of a button. I do think it's a very slick and easy to use case. There are a ton of different fully kitted out configurations that you can buy pre-built, generally powered by an i7-600K Intel core, and single or dual GTX 1080 GPUs or an AMD RX 480 if you're of the AMD inclination, and of course a smattering of varying amounts of RAM, hard drive space and more. Alternatively, you could just pick up the case for roughly £500, taking advantage of the massive feature set it offers and build your own mega rig to your own desired specifications. Just a reminder though, you'll need a Micro ATX motherboard. Let's move on to performance for the bundles. The specs of the rig that I was sent are as follows. An Intel i7-6700K processor clocked at 4GHz, 16 gigs of RAM, and an Nvidia GTX 1080. I wanted to see how this particular rig performs on Battlefield 1 and also Ghost Recon Wildlands, 2 fairly recent games which still push the graphical envelope, both with graphics settings turned up as high as they can go. I'm pretty happy with how it ran both games. Battlefield ran wonderfully, even in the most hectic of environments, with gas particle effects, fire and explosions, and it didn't dip below 100 FPS. I am running both games at a 1920 by 1080 resolution, but I'm sure this beast could handle 4K. Unfortunately, I don't have a 4K capable monitor at my disposal. I'm not super hardcore into stress testing systems, but I just wanted to give you guys a general baseline as to how this rig performs on some recent games. Ghost Recon Wildlands is a tough cookie to get to run well on most systems. On my PC I have to run everything on pretty much medium. On the OMEN X I was sent, I'd pushed everything up to max, and even with a game as expansive and as taxing on the system as this, it comfortably sat at around 50 to 80 FPS depending on the environment being rendered. Ultimately, if you seriously wanted to push for more FPS, you could opt for the dual 1080 bundle or build your own specification just using the OMEN X case. bearing in mind that it's all got to fit onto a micro ATX motherboard. Overall, I really do love the design and functionality of the OMEN X. It's quite a lovely centrepiece to have sat on the desk, and I have personally splashed out around £350 for a case in the past, as I really do think these design choices for airflow, as well as ease of use, can be worth the money. It is certainly a luxury item for the avid gamer, and I don't expect it to be everybody's cup of tea. Having a pre-built system with a warranty definitely has its benefits, especially if you've never built a PC before or if you're new to PC gaming altogether. It's also a great package to begin learning how to mod your system and upgrade it, as it has such lovely, easy to use case design, with great access to all the chambers, allowing you to tinker and add upgrades as you go. I think if I was running a completely dated setup and wanted to fully overhaul my system, I'd definitely consider getting an OMEN X. Let me know what you thought about the OMEN X in the comments below, and if you like this video then please do smash that thumbs up button. Thank you for watching, see you next time, and goodbye!